Today's episode, we're going to break down the Bulls' win over the Charlotte Hornets. Goran Dragic stepping up big time, and Patrick Williams putting together another good game. We're going to break all that down and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. And today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On. Pat, the Bulls get a win against the Charlotte Hornets. Led throughout pretty much in this game. The Charlotte Hornets did have a brief lead there in the first quarter, but other than that, the Bulls really held on to that lead for the most part of that game. They did go through some scoring droughts. They did allow some runs, but when it was all said and done, the Bulls win every single quarter in this game, which we needed to see. And they did all that with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan combining to go 6 of 27 for 19 points in this game. Bro, how do you feel about this game over?
I think that's the part, right? That's the part that gets you excited about this team. When you see how the bench unit performed, when you see what the bench was able to do, when you see how, they picked each other up tonight. This is a night last season we lose to a team that you weren't supposed to lose to. This is a night last season that the Bulls don't come away with this game. Last season, it was DeMar DeRozan or bust. Tonight, we saw it's a little bit different now. This season, you're coming in with a little bit different mindset. You're getting a little bit more from the bench unit, getting a little bit more from a couple guys in your starting unit, and Patrick Williams and I would assume will helps with you as well. But I think, right, you saw this team really pick up. Zach LaVine had an awful night. DeMar DeRozan had an awful night. Nikola Vucevic, based on this season, it wasn't a good night for Vooch, but Vooch just falls out of bed and gets a double-double. And yet again, he fell out of bed and got a double-double. So I love what we saw from this Bulls team as a whole. I think they're doing a better job of keeping things close in the first quarter. Absolutely came out hot in this first quarter. I think this is probably first – outside of the Cleveland game, which got ugly really quick, probably the first quarter we've seen the Chicago Bulls really come out hot and be able to get a lead to kind of build that momentum up for you. So I like what I saw from the Bulls tonight. I think that I know this is a game that you're supposed to win versus Charlotte. It's an easy game. There's nobody playing, basically. You got Dennis Smith Jr. and Kelly Oubre, who all of a sudden can shoot again. What happened to that? Wasn't he like a horrible shooter in Golden State? When did this happen? But I like what we saw from this team. Getting a win that you should get, but getting it in a very unorthodox way for the Chicago Bulls the last couple of seasons.
As well, and then you also chip in Ayo Dosunmu only going 3 for 10 for 8 points in this one. It was a rough night for players that we've depended on scoring for a while. Now, Vooch had a pretty solid game. Still 16 shots to get 14 points, but 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block, a hell of a block at that. I won't forget that block. But this game, like, the way that I look at it is this. The bench in this game having over almost 43 points from the bench, bananas. And we'll talk about that bench unit overall. But this team played solid defense. Again, this is a team that's very depleted by injuries. And they seem like the Charlotte Hornets, they kept feeling at times like, hey, Charlotte is about to go out on a run. Hey, Charlotte didn't put together a nice couple of stretches. But the thing that was different in this game, the Bulls answered one of those every single time with either a run of their own. There were some scoring droughts in this one, but they were able to combat that and come back. 3-point shooting percentage in this one, the Bulls were 45% while holding the Charlotte Hornets to only 21%.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, I think the Bulls did a good job defensively in this game as the game went on. Again, still leaving some of those open threes or corner threes open. But I thought you saw this Bulls team really get together defensively. I thought you saw a lineup in there, especially when it was Patrick Williams, Ayo Dosunmu, DJJ. I think Zach LaVine was Dragic? Maybe it was Dragic. Dragic the only offensive player really out there. And then Ayo Dosunmu out there. Like, you're sitting there looking at that, and you're just like, bro, like, I'd be amazed if y'all get a pass off. Like, it would be impressive if y'all got a pass through the passing lanes with the arm length that's just reaching out. And literally, you saw it, right? Like, it was just the Bulls did a good job playing passing lanes. The Bulls did a good job literally just sticking their hands out and the ball would hit the hand. You know what I mean? So I liked a lot of what we saw versus the Charlotte Hornets. And I thought the Bulls did a good job kind of taking a lot of guys out of this game, right? Kelly Oubre Jr. basically got all of his big points on you off of the deep ball. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, though, right, like nobody really did anything. And that's what you should do when you've got JT Thor, Kai Jones. I thought it was Kai Soto for a minute when I saw Kai. He's not in the league. And James Bouknight, you know what I mean? Like the Bulls did what they were supposed to do. They handled business. That's what I love about tonight's game because, like I said, these are the games last year where we would have looked and we'd have been like, hey, bro, like, this game ain't supposed to be this competitive. And I think that's kind of how it felt at the beginning, right? Like at the beginning, it was a very back and forth game. So it's good to see in that second half, they really kind of separated it. Let me ask you this. Did you feel like we saw the effects tonight on Zach LaVine? Because he had a horrible night. And even he said, I had a horrible night. That we saw the effects tonight of Zach LaVine playing his first back-to-back? Or is it just, he's still trying to work himself into regular season form?
I think it's a combination of both. He's playing his first back-to-back, playing over 30 minutes in both those games, which I definitely didn't expect him to play.
I didn't expect that at all.
Even if he did play in this game. So I think it's a combination of all those things. He is still working himself in the rhythm. I think, he did find his rhythm last game against Brooklyn, but, it's hard to maintain that when you just haven't played in a lot of games. So overall, I think it's a combination of both, to answer your question the short way.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think the one part that I think is a little concerning for me is now, right, like they let him play in the second of back-to-back, more than likely because they knew that he could cook the Charlotte Hornets and not have to exert himself too much. Mm-hmm. The concerning part for me is now, where do we go with this? Do we continue to allow him to do what he did tonight, playing those seconds of back-to-backs? I don't know if we need 30 minutes. Like, I don't need that all season at all. Like, listen, it's the beginning of the season. I understand what the game plan was around load management on the knee. We don't got to just throw that out the window because we want to win the second of these back-to-backs. Like, I still need Zach here for the playoffs. But what I think you saw tonight was a combination of both of what I said. And then on top of that, right, Zach LaVine trying to just find a rhythm and some consistency off of that hot game, trying to come in with that same thing. And then on the other side, right, like, can you keep doing that? Can you keep playing them in those seconds of back-to-backs? Because if you don't, if you take that away from him, I think the concern is going to be that he'll never build up enough of that. I don't know. I don't want to say endurance. I mean, he's an NBA player, but like, his body won't get used to being in those back-to-backs, and we got a lot of them this season.
Well, we're by January, we're almost done with most of our back-to-backs. So, listen, we gonna go through them pretty quickly thereafter.
It's still a lot, though. I think we got 5 after the All-Star break.
No, 4 after the All-Star break.
4 after the that's still a lot.
It's really not, because considering we're gonna have 4 now we're gonna have 4 sets of back-to-backs in the first 3 weeks of the season. So you spread that out over the latter half of the season, is not that bad. But
I swear the NBA hates us.
Oh, like they
like y'all had the 90s, bro. That's all you get. We're not giving you nothing else. See you putting that T to use out there. Bro.
Oh, I got to, bro. Got to. The voice is shot.
I hear it. You got a little James Earl Jones going on tonight.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm sure somebody out there likes it. But with that being said, the Zach LaVine on back-to-back things, I mean, I still think you do it. I don't necessarily think you need to play him heavy minutes in all of them. Like,
me neither.
I wouldn't have minded to see Zach LaVine only play 15 minutes in this game. I wouldn't have minded it at all.
I think I want him to get his body used to doing it, because there's so many of them this season. And some, right, like right now you're getting blessed with them. Right now you're literally getting blessed with, it's a really tough team and then a not so tough team. It's a not so tough team and then it's a really tough team, right? Like, so you're kind of getting like the good situation, the best situation out of every back-to-back that you can get right now. Towards the end of the season, though, you definitely got some Boston Milwaukees. Towards the end of the season, you got some Philly Milwaukees in that mug. You know what I mean? Like, so Philly Cleveland, so I think that's the part where I look at the playing him in this back-to-back here, and I'm like, I don't need to see him play a ton, but I do want to see him get his body used to it a little bit, because there's going to be some of those games, especially at the end of the year, where we need you to play in that second of a back-to-back, and I don't want it to be like a shock to his system.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, his conditioning. I think by after the All-Star break, I think that's when they're gonna that minutes restriction or the back-to-back restriction may just be lifted by then. They may just be trying to take it easy at the beginning part of the season. We'll see. But that's it there on the overall thoughts of the game. Next up, we're gonna be talking about one player that stood up and played very well in this game and has been putting together a nice solid string of games, and that's Patrick Williams. But before we do that, I got to talk to you guys about Prize Picks. I don't know if you guys knew it or not, but you could have betted on if Patrick Williams is going to have this type of output or not over on Prize Picks. You guys should have did that. But how does it work? How does it work? You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they will go score more or less than the Prize Pick projections, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch. This includes NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball, women's college basketball, soccer, WNBA, every sport that you can think of. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's just that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals, currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the Prize Pick apps or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter the promo code LOCKEDON at sign-up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. All right, Pat. Let's go from one Pat to the other Pat. No more passive Pete.
Oh, hold on. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Bulls your first listen today. For your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports. From the games that matter most, the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights that only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.
All right. Now, from one Pat to another Pat, even more so now. Patrick Williams in this game, putting together his out of the last 5 games, he scored in double digits pretty efficiently at that. But like I said, it's always the defense for me. Defensively, he was active today. But overall, this game, probably one of the best, if not the best game of his season so far. How do you feel about it, Pat?
I said it in the last game. It looked like the first game where he worked with DeMar. In this game, it looked like the first game he realized he's 6'7". In his, I mean, honestly, right, in his career, like even the 35-point game, right, a lot of jump shots, a lot of pull-up mid-range, a lot of, okay, I'm gonna make a finesse lay, stuff like that. Tonight, Patrick Williams was the most dominant player on the basketball court. We've never said that about Patrick Williams, probably in his NBA career. Patrick Williams tonight was the most dominant player on the basketball court, and he realized he was moving people out of the way. And I mean, at this point, right, like now he's using the size to kind of add in the finesse moves that he learned in the offseason. So I'm giving the little bump, turn around, fade, pull up, J, cash. What the heck is that? Where did he get that move from? I ain't seen that in like, you know what I'm saying? So I am so excited to see Patrick Williams kind of figuring this out now. I don't know what changed. And even Billy Donovan, like they asked Billy Donovan in the postgame show, and he was like, you got to ask him. He's like, of course, we've talked to Patrick about these things. Of course, we've wanted Patrick to do more of these things. Of course, we've wanted to add this into this game. But, like, he's just got to do them. And so you've got to, like, Billy Donovan doesn't even know why Patrick Williams all of a sudden decided, hey, I'm finna cook y'all. And he came out tonight and he played an excellent game. Of course, on the defensive end, right? I love what Patrick Williams is able to do on the defensive end. I love the disrespectful block that we got from him last night. My favorite block is when he just like, get that. Come on, bro. You shouldn't have came down here. But I thought that he did a really good job tonight on both ends. I thought he did a good job playing the passing lanes. I thought he did a good job just rotating. I think that the biggest thing with P. Will has been P will get a spot and he'll stand there and turn into a gargoyle on you.
Yeah.
We're not seeing that. He's coming off screen. He's coming back door, and he's like tonight,
That's what she said.
Hey, all right. Woo! Welcome to the Locked On Network, member of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Oh man,
your podcast every day, baby. But no, when it's like Shaq, bro. It's like Shaq and Chuck on what you would call it, bro. Yeah. That one threw me off, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Go ahead.
No, the thing for me,
look at kid in the comments.
Yeah, the thing for me in this one for Patrick Williams is the aggression on both sides of the ball. He was attacking it defensively. He was going after it, trying to get a lot of blocks, putting his body on people. But then, like you said, it was using the dribbling and the combination of his size. And one of the things that Patrick Williams did in this one, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, when he was in the mid-range, he took 2 mid-range shots that I remember specifically in this game, and he jumped and held on to his release a little bit longer. And you couldn't even be in position to block it because the combination of the length of his arms and things, it just was a really good shot. Patrick Williams is starting, like you said, to really look like that player that worked with DeMar DeRozan, and you're starting to see that overlap in the games as well. Him operating in the mid-range like he did today. Didn't settle for those 3-pointers in this game. So like even the 3-pointers that he did take were in rhythm or he was wide open. And that's why he went 2 for 3. Like this was a smart game from Patrick Williams in every stretch. His passes, his defense, everything. He put together one of the best games I've seen him do.
And here's the wild part about it, right? Like the fact that the surprising part is not how efficient of a scorer he is, but it's just the fact that he's taking the shots and he's like just taking the shots, right? Like Patrick Williams is ridiculously efficient. He's like that. That's what AK saw. That's why AK thinks this jump is coming. That is what he believed in. Patrick Williams, it doesn't even look like even his misses just look like, wow, I could have seen that falling. You know what I mean? And I feel like, right, he's just kind of coming into his own game, and he's really, again, that confidence, that belief in himself. And even with like what you said with the jump shot, right? Like, I think he's using that to negate the fact that his jump shot's a little bit slow.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
You know what I mean? Like he's still got a slow jumper. Like that ball gets to him, he be there it is.
And this is why I've always told people that, like, yes, I understand Patrick Williams is the 4th overall pick. I understand what that comes with and the expectation that comes with. But the fact of the matter is, Patrick Williams isn't going to get a lot of offense ran through him. I've said this stat a lot lately. He only has ever averaged 7 shots a game per his career. He's pretty much still taking that in this stretch. He took 9 in this game, but still taking the same shots. But he's hitting them, and it's the way he's going about getting them. Patrick Williams doesn't need to be the player that has 8 and 10 plays called for him a game, but if he's playing like this, taking those shots confidently, hitting them, he's going to get you double-digit points, period.
But now let me ask you this, right? If you want Patrick Williams to be that player, if you want Patrick Williams to live up to that 4th-round pick, those first 3 plays for Patrick Williams will absolutely run for Patrick Williams.
Yeah, but that's how they get him. That's how they get him engaged in the game, and they've done that. If you go back to like this, like I said, it's been 5 games we've had good Patrick Williams. The 6th game, the one that he didn't play well, they started doing that. They went to him on that first play of the game, and then on the second play, it wasn't designed for him to score, but it was designed for him to decide where the ball is going to go to score. They're getting him engaged early in, much like they tried to do with Vooch last season, and it didn't work. And now Vooch is just a more consistent player throughout the game. Yeah. But we're seeing them now work Patrick Williams' confidence in by saying, "Hey, these 2 out of these first 3 plays, we're going to you in some kind of way. Just stay engaged after that."
I mean, I'm with that, right? But I mean, if that's the case, and you realize that, hey, when we run plays around this guy, he literally like nobody was in his way. Like people were making business decisions. Mason Plumlee had to make a business decision. Like, you know what?
Hey, he literally said, "Hey, listen, I'm not gonna get this
I have nothing for this. I'm gonna just get out the way so that I'm not on the Bulls highlight reel tonight." Like, if you're seeing a player when you run plays for him play better, maybe Billy Donovan might want to run some more plays for him. I'm not saying you got to give the offense to Patrick Williams. But if you run, they probably ran 4 plays for him tonight. And he ended up with 17 points, 16 points. He ended up with, where's the points at? 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. He was 7 for 9, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. And other than that, he was just finding his way open. Run 7 plays. Run 9 plays. All of a sudden now you're looking at a player that is and I'm not saying that it's all of a sudden just going to happen that way, but if you see that when you give him those moments, he takes advantage of them, don't just be like, all right, well, we're going to give you those 4 or 5 moments. Give him more, especially, and I'm not saying all season, but especially in these games.
Patrick Williams
back-to-backs all season.
Pat has played 96 total basketball games in his NBA career. Out of those 96 games, he has had 18 games in which he's had double-digit shot attempts. In those games with double-digit shot attempts, he averages 18.5 points per game. Basically what that means, if you give him the opportunity, he gets it done.
Patrick Williams is Rudy Gobert. We need to give him more than 10 shots? Is that all you telling me right now?
That's all. I'm just going off the statistics, bro.
All you telling me right now is we need to give him 10 shots and he's a 20 and 10 play?
Let the numbers tell you what they were. In games in which Patrick Williams gets double-digit shot attempts, he averages 18.5 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 4 assists per game. That's all I'm saying. The stats tell you what it tells you.
Hey, listen, I'll say this. Damon talking about let it go, Pat. Absolutely not. Because both Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell are balling. I think that was real hate that they had for each other. That's what that was. That was real hate.
They must have had that legitimately. If we wouldn't get suspended, we'd fight after every game.
Hey, bro, legit. You know what I mean? No, that was one of them. Like if I could reach you, I would hit you in your face every year.
See, that's how you know Rudy Gobert isn't built like Olin Krutz, because he would have stuffed him in the locker.
That'd have been wild, wouldn't it? About that story coming out. Not only do you shut down the NBA, but then you stuff Donovan Mitchell in the locker. Good man. No, but I look at Patrick Williams' opportunity and ability, and I say, hey, listen, if he's taking advantage of these moments, let's not take it away. Very much like Ayo, right? When Ayo took advantage of these moments, we didn't give Ayo less time. We didn't take Ayo off of the court. We didn't give Ayo less minutes. We were like, yo, he looks like he can play basketball. Keep putting him out there. Give him more time. Give him more minutes. Give him more responsibility. Guess what? You got to guard the best point guard in the NBA tonight. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that I want to see from P. Will. I don't want to see P. Will get pigeonholed into, hey, you're a really good defender, and if you give us 15 points a game, we feel really good.
That's fair. All right, moving into the last topic for the day. We got to talk about this bench, bro.
Woo!
43 points from the bench. 43 points. You know what? I looked it up in between Bulls Central and here.
Yeah.
Do you know how many games it took last season for the Bulls bench to total 43 points?
We didn't have 43 points at the beginning of the season, or you just talking about in the second half here?
No, I'm talking about the Chicago Bulls. To start the season, do you know how many games it took the bench as a total to score 43 points combined between games?
Nah, go ahead.
No, guess. You got to give me a number, brother.
I feel like the bench was decent last year. Oh, we didn't have Kobe though. Our bench couldn't score at the beginning. Yeah, I did think it was 49, but I don't know. But anyway, I'll say 5 games.
It took us 4 games.
4 games.
To get what we got in 1 game tonight. And we have had 3 games in this season where the Bulls bench has scored over 30 points. We're only 9 games now into the season. The bench is legit.
This is one of the best benches in the NBA. Billy Donovan has done an excellent job rotating guys in and out of the lineup. Billy Donovan absolutely has his lineups that he likes. He's got his offensive lineup. He's got his defensive lineup. He's got his starting lineup. He's got his bench unit. I love that he has so many lineups. Like, you see a combination of guys out there that is different all the time, but it's still that set. You know what he's trying to accomplish with that lineup. You keep a little bit of offense in, but I got my defenders in here. You got a ton of offense in. Patrick Williams, it's on you. You know what I mean? Like, I love those moments with this Bulls team. They're probably... I would say at this point, right, after tonight, they might be the best bench in the NBA. After tonight, I'm talking just statistic-wise. But I would probably say, whose bench would we say is better than the Bulls right now? Like, every game we've come back in, the bench has been the part that brought us back. The Boston Celtics game, the bench. The Philadelphia 76ers game, the bench. every game that we've been in and we've stayed in, the bench has been the big pickup. The Mavericks bench.
Maybe the Mavericks bench.
I would say Memphis. Memphis,
for sure.
Maybe I'd still
Memphis,
put over
and
there.
I'd say probably too. Milwaukee has a hell of a bench too.
Milwaukee I don't know if I put them over.
I mean, I don't
Milwaukee's
know if I
got Bobby Portis.
I don't know, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I have to take some time to dive into that one.
Yeah, I love what this bench unit has been able to do. And I think that it's a focal point. I know you said this right. You were like, is this the bench mob? Is this the best bench mob that the Bulls have ever had? It might be, dog. Now we're early in the season, right? Of course, we all love the Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose bench mob, but like the ability to Pelicans is a good one too. There's some good benches in the NBA out here. Mm-hmm. The ability to be able to bring multiple guys off of your bench and still work in your starters with those guys. I think Billy Donovan has done a masterful job this season with mixing in starters and bench units, with mixing in good defensive lineups off of the bench, good offensive lineups off of the bench. And I think, right, like, if anything, we feel good about this bench unit, and I would be hard-pressed to think that AK doesn't try to add something halfway through the season, either in the buyout market or maybe via trade, probably more buyout market than anything, just for that power forward position.
Yeah,
because Billy Donovan hates every big man.
He doesn't know who they are, Pat. He has no idea who.
Oh, he knows Tony. He knows.
Oh,
Tony.
He knows Tony. He knows. We all know Tony Bradley. Everybody knows Tony Bradley. He's Eeyore, but he doesn't.
Tony
know
Bradley looked like Tony Bradley looked like he smoked during the game because he just know he not getting in. You know what I mean? Like, he looked like that dude is just like, hey, bro, like, hey, bring me 2 Diet Cokes. Tony, you got to get in the game, bro. No, I don't.
That's funny. Oh man, but I think the thing too is and in this one we are still missing a key piece of our bench in Andre Drummond, and the bench production is still amazing.
And I mean, no matter which point guard you think is going to be in the starting lineup, you're going to get a really point guard added back to your bench unit. Like, our bench isn't complete. Like, that is the part that excites me a lot about this Bulls team with this bench unit, is just like watching how cohesive it is and watching how many guys can just come in and step in. I mean, honestly, right, like, it hasn't felt like we've missed Andre Drummond a ton. And we know how good Andre Drummond is.
Yeah. Bulls, I just looked it up. So the Bulls are the 6th ranked team as far as the bench production, as far as defensive rating, and we're the 13th ranked offensive bench unit as far as points per game off the bench. Crazy. That's wild.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty damn good.
I mean, it's middle of the pack, but right, like,
we're averaging 36 points per game off the bench, bro.
And that's the part I think that where you look at right now. I said it over on in your chat on Chicago Bulls Central, right? Like, this was a Golden State Warriors type of win. And I'm not saying like it was versus a great team or nothing like that. Like, you were supposed to beat this team. But Zach LaVine shot terribly. DeMar DeRozan shot terribly. Nikola Vucevic played mid. And your bench won you the game. These are the moments where, right, we see Stephen Curry shoot 3 for 14, Klay Thompson go 2 for 11, Draymond Green's 1 for 10, but Jordan Poole is 11 for 12. You know what I mean? And Andrew Wiggins is 10 for 10. You know what I'm saying? Like this is one of those games where I was like, bro, like, I was looking at Zach and I was just like, bro, y'all pull him out. Like, stop him playing. I don't want to see him out there no more because he just looked dead. Pull him. Pull all of them. I said, pull DeMar, pull Vooch. They looked like a team that played 30-plus minutes the day before. That's what the Bulls look like. And those are the moments where you're going to need your bench to step up most. And I'm glad to see that the bench did, because this is a game. I know it's the Charlotte Hornets. This is a game last year. Kelly Oubre, 24 points. You lose this game last year.
Good point. I mean, and they're still without LaMelo Ball. But at the end of the day, the Bulls took care of business. They got the victory. We moved over 500 for the first time. Well, no, not since the first time of the season. But Can't wait to see how this Bulls team builds off this. Friday, we got Boston again. It's not going to be an easy matchup at all. They're going to come in trying to avenge their loss against us before. But, Pat, that's it today. You got anything left?
Nah, man. That's it. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Dropped a tweet tonight asking who your B MVP is. That is your Bulls MVP of the night. Go comment on that tweet over on Twitter, man. Appreciate y'all for showing love.
All righty. You guys can follow me as well over at CEO Haize, the CEO Haize. Thank you for tuning in and making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This is Locked On Bulls. We out this mug. Peace, y'all.
Yeah. Haize is sleepy.